From the fast-growing Middle East and the growing consumption in Africa have boosted Thai rice prices by more than 20% this year. Last year they shot up by 50%. And according to the UN, they're the highest levels in 20 years. It's a worrying trend for Asian policymakers, with a possible shortage of rice for millions across the region imminent. And joining us in the studio is Dr. Robert Ziegler, who's the Director General of the International Rice Research Institute. Welcome to Asia Today. How does all this then impact on the world's poor?
Well, rice is the staple food for about half the world's population and over half the world's poor. So if there's an increase in the price of rice, that basically translates into a cut in pay for the poor.
Let's first of all then talk about the demand. We've talked there about how it's increasing in Africa there, for instance, the Middle East. Is there not enough rice to go around, basically?
Well, if you look at the global rice stocks, they are approaching levels that we haven't seen since the late 1970s, very low levels. So we are eating more rice than we're growing. So in fact, there is not enough rice being produced today.
Can that be increased? Can other countries come in and start growing rice?
Well, we can increase production. We would expect that there will be some response by farmers to higher prices. But we've let our infrastructure run down, irrigation infrastructure. Urban expansion has moved into some of the best and most fertile rice-producing lands in Asia. We have increasing competition for water from industry, so the stress factors are all working against increasing production. We're going to have to look to increase the productivity of rice on our present lands, and there is modest room for expansion in areas like Myanmar, but of course there are political issues at stake there.
Then, of course, there's a question of drought. When that happens, again, affecting the harvest, that
Right.
must be just devastating for you.
Well, it is. And it's not so much devastating for the harvest as for the farmers. Our research at the International Rice Research Institute has shown that a single drought event in eastern India can push 13 million farm families back into poverty. And what that means is that they have to sell off their livestock, they pull their children out of school. And if they pull their children out of school, effectively what that does is condemn another generation to poverty. And
similarly, I suppose, with something like the tsunamis that we've had, the flooding, that type of thing, that also has that same sort of effect.
Oh, yeah, it can be devastating. In Bangladesh this year, there was horrendous suffering from a couple of cyclones that went through the country. Now, I don't want to sound all doom and gloom. I think that there are reasons, some reasons for optimism if we take action now.
Well, that's a good note to end on. Let's end on optimism. Dr. Robert Ziegler, thank you very much.
Very good.